Welcome to IT Pro. I'm Basil, this is the Sony Xperia Z, and we're reviewing it for you now. The Xperia Z packs a 5-inch Full HD display, quad-core processor, and just a 7.9mm girth, not to mention weatherproofing. So on paper it's probably the best phone out there, but is it in real life? Well, kicking off with the design, and we'd say it's definitely the most classical design out there. Despite our version being purple, it's available in black and white as well. We'd recommend the black version for any business user out there, with its extreme classical styling looking almost like a Sony Bravia TV. It's just very, very clean and simple. All the buttons and all the ports, are underneath flaps on either side and up top, and that's because, as we said, it is indeed waterproof. So you can submerge this up to 1 meter for 30 minutes, which is very impressive and will really benefit anyone who has to work while being exposed to the elements, for example. That said, all the ports are under flaps, and that can also be annoying. On the left is a micro SD card slot and a micro USB port. On the right hand side you've got a micro SIM tray, and up top is a 3.5mm headphone jack. As we said, you've got to open the flap every time you want to use any of these. This might mean it'll be worth investing in a pair of Bluetooth headphones for audio and a dock for charging your phone, so that you don't actually have to keep unplugging that flap. As far as the screen goes, you've got a 5-inch Full HD display, and that gives it a pixel density of 441. That's amongst the highest out there. It looks incredibly crisp and vibrant, powered by Sony's mobile Bravia Engine 2. Therefore, you really aren't going to do any better right now. If you're giving a presentation from this phone, you can be sure that your colleague will be absolutely wowed by the sheer size and power this display packs in terms of vibrancy. It's not the brightest out there at 400 nits as opposed to 600 on, for example, the HTC One X Plus and the iPhone 5. However, we certainly didn't feel brightness was an issue in any way. As far as the user interface goes, you've got Android 4.1, and therefore that gives you access to all the applications on the Google Play Store. You've got the applications drawer, as you can see, and it's very, very customizable. Indeed, if this is a combination of work and play phone, you can change your theme very, very easily and make it a lot more vibrant and fun, or a lot more subdued. So very, very quickly we can go from this very, very somber black right through to a vibrant purple to match the backing of our phone, and we can see that's taken over the highlights, for example, and it's also taken over our lock screen, producing a very cohesive user interface and experience ultimately. Really, really nice touch from Sony, and we're going to keep that purple on for the remainder of the review. As far as the camera goes, you've got a 13 megapixel sensor on the reverse. It's one of the strongest cameras out there. It is, however, going to produce very heavily processed images. They do look good, so if you're using them for day-to-day purposes, you won't notice this too much. However, if you're going to post-process your images, you might want to opt for something that's a little bit less heavy on processing. Ultimately, though, a good camera. As far as the performance goes, also you get good performance. It packs a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor with 2 GB of RAM. There's 16 GB of internal memory, as well as microSD expandability. If you're going to pack a lot of apps on here, you want to be aware that the microSD expandability won't be able to take those applications. So you may want to opt for a phone with a larger internal memory. For most users, though, 16 should prove ample. As we said, Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 quad-core processor also makes for a great experience. User interface interaction is smooth, widgets and menu transitions look very, very good, and if we pinch out or just long press, we can see we can overview our home screens, and everything is very smooth. We can very simply add home screens at will. For day-to-day use, therefore, generally thumbs up. As far as the battery goes, you've got a 2300 milliamp battery in here. While that sounds like a lot, given the 5-inch display and quad-core processor, it isn't as much as you might think. It's pretty much what we'd expect and no less. If we jump into the settings, we can see that Sony have introduced something called Power Stamina Mode. This actually enables you to whitelist applications. What we've just accidentally deleted, Twitter for example. Once you whitelist an application, it's allowed to run all the time. All applications that aren't whitelisted when this mode is on won't actually run when the screen is turned off. This in turn saves a huge amount of power. When battery stamina mode is active, therefore, you can expect very, very good battery life out of the phone, provided the screen remains off for the duration of the day. As soon as you start using the phone though, that's when you'll notice that the screen really starts to sap the battery dry. Indeed, we got as little as 6 to 8 hours from the phone when we were using it intensively. When we weren't, however, in regular day-to-day use, we got up to a day and a half from the handset, which is very impressive by modern flagship standards. So ultimately, we've never seen such inconsistent battery life in our lives when it comes to phones, but this could be a good thing and one you can make work towards your advantage. So that has been our review of the Sony Xperia Z, a weatherproof wonder and definitely the best smartphone out now. But with the HTC One on the way, as well as the Samsung Galaxy S4 due to be announced very soon, it's a game where we just have to watch this space. I've been Basil, this has been the Xperia Z, and you've been watching IT Pro. If you've got any questions, please feel free to fire them in the comment section below. And if you'd enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe to our channel.